Hey guys, this is more of a informative video maybe for doctors because I'll be talking about things that are a bit more complex, but as patients you also do have to know this. I'll be talking a little bit about Rejuran and how to do in relation to fillers. First of all, Rejuran is very safe. However, in combination with different fillers, there can be some side effects. And those fillers are the cross-linked fillers. So not all fillers are equal. There's a lot of different brands, a lot of different products inside each brand for different purposes. So basically, you can think of them from very thin types, which you can use for very sensitive areas like the lips or below the eyes. And there's also very thick types, which will be used to inject deeper, to prop up the cheeks, to prop up the nose. So those will be thicker ones. And you achieve that difference in effect not only by the thickness or viscosity, but also through the cross-linking. And the cross-linking is also related to how long it will last. So usually if they are thinner, the cross-linking percentage will be less and they will wear off faster. But that's also safer and it won't clump up. But if it's cross-linked or the links between the molecules are very strong, it will last longer and have more volumization effect. Now, there's nothing wrong with the cross-linking. It's just that in that itself, there's also possibility of some side effects, allergic reactions, or we call them hypersensitivity reactions that can be delayed. So even though immediately after the filler treatment you might not have any reaction, these types of like redness or swelling can occur even months after the injection. And there is suspicion of this being due to maybe some of the cross-linked or some of the other materials used to make these cross-links in the fillers. And so in relation to Rejuran, first of all, it should not be injected together with a cross-linked filler. Now, there are some fillers out in the market which are not cross-linked, and those are relatively safer to mix together. And for example, if you did a cross-linked filler injection, is it safe to do Rejuran afterwards? Now, that's a different story because it depends a lot. First of all, what plane or where was the filler injected? If it's the same doctor, then the doctor will know where he injected, obviously. So if, for example, they injected a very thick cross-linked filler deep into the cheek, then there's no problem with doing the Rejuran on the superficial area of the skin where it's supposed to be injected. So we don't have to worry about any cross-reaction or any sensitivity. However, if a patient comes to you, like a patient came to me today where they did the filler somewhere else, we really don't know where, what plane, what level it was injected at. And then comes the tricky part. So then can we inject Rejuran? We can inject and hopefully there's no side effect, but there is a possibility that there can be some reaction between the Rejuran and the filler together, causing what we call a granuloma. And a granuloma is sort of thickened scar tissue, which is very hard to treat. So this is something definitely we don't want. Then what do? We can wait because all fillers will dissolve. Now, the hyaluronic acid fillers that we use nowadays, at least, so it will maybe dissolve depending on what type of filler and the thickness and the cross-link percentage. The very thick ones maybe will last maybe even up to 2 years. Now, you might not feel there's any effect there anymore, but that doesn't mean that the filler is not present in the skin. You see, it could still be there molecularly. It's just that the effect that you saw before is not there anymore. You don't perceive it. But that's a different story from whether the product itself is still in the skin or in the face. So usually we think it's about 1 to 2 years for thicker ones. So then, of course, after that time, it'd be safest to do Rejuran, but then you'll have that period of time where you can't do the Rejuran or you don't do the Rejuran. So this relationship between the fillers and the Rejuran is something that requires more research and it's still going on. But for example, one thing, if you really have to do the filler and Rejuran together, it's best to do it the same doctor. So, they won't be put in the same plane. And or you do the Rejuran first. So you do the Rejuran 3 or 4 sessions at 1 month intervals. After that, you do the filler. And then even if it's in the very superficial plane, then you can wait, maybe a year, which is usually the interval between the multiple sessions of Rejuran before you do it again. So, this is something I think doctors and patients alike needs to keep in mind. And yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, see you.